Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Storyist. They say that children are our future, but many adults don't realize that influencing a whole new generation with the same old ways that wrecked our world once will never induce change. Today, I will be sharing with you a story about a little girl who refuses to go to daycare until her mother finds out. Stay until the end of the video to find out the real reason why the little girl doesn't want to go to daycare and how her mother handles the situation. Mariz is a 5-year-old girl. Her mother is a single mom, and her father has left their family even before she was born. Because of being alone with a child, her mother is juggling her work at a fast food restaurant and taking care of her. They live in a small and cheap apartment downtown. And during the weekdays, her mother will always drop her off at a local daycare to have someone else look after her. Since Mariz was 3 years of age, her mother has always been dropping her off at the local daycare before going to her work at the restaurant. So it has already been 2 years, and Mariz is still doing fine with their setup. But that is until her mother loses her job at the restaurant. One fine morning, while Mariz's mother is serving hot tea to a customer, she accidentally pours some on the customer's lap. Because of this, the customer files a complaint against her for bad behavior, and she is immediately fired from her position. She has been working for that fast food restaurant for over 3 years now, but because of one single mistake, everything she had worked hard for is thrown back into the trash. She goes home feeling down. Before heading back to their apartment, Mariz's mother picks her up from daycare and carries her home while tears fall down her cheek. She does not know where she can get enough money to pay for this month's rent. She doesn't even know where to start looking for another job. She is not young anymore, and companies are looking for fresh talents. Besides, she does not even have any talent aside from waiting tables and pouring hot tea on cups, but even that she can't do. She feels so hopeless, thinking what will happen to her and to her 5-year-old daughter now. Everything is blurry for her. The following morning, she leaves home early to look for a job. As usual, she drops off Mariz to her daycare, and she starts sending applications to whatever restaurant she sees available. Unfortunately, their town is too small for news not to spread like wildfire. Every single restaurant she knows has already heard about what happened in her previous job. It turns out that the customer that she accidentally poured hot water onto is actually a huge name in their town and a prominent person in business. So it is no question why the news of her mischief has already visited every single restaurant in town. Because of this misfortune, she is having a really hard time looking for a job replacement. The next morning, Mariz's mother knew she will never find a new job inside their town. Her past mistake at her previous job will just come haunting her over and over as long as the incident is still fresh. And if she waits until the news becomes stale, she and her daughter might not even survive. They might starve. So she thinks of one decision a mother like her will surely think of at that situation: leave the town and start anew. So Mariz's mother packs up her bags and takes Mariz to a new town. It is somewhere she has never been. But she thinks after a shameful past with her husband and the previous mistake she has committed, everything is better this way. She rents a small apartment, even smaller than the one they lived in before, but it is way cheaper, and that is the important part. She uses up all her last money to pay the deposit of their home, buy groceries to feed them enough for a month, and pay for Mariz's new daycare. Fortunately, the apartment she found is just about 3 blocks away from Mariz's new daycare, so it is no hassle for her to drop her off and pick her up. Mariz's mother spends all day looking for a job at the nearby restaurants near the new apartment's vicinity. That is also the first day she has left Mariz in her new daycare. The caretaker is an elderly woman, perhaps in her later 40s, and she has a gloomy aura that freaks Mariz's mother out. But she has no other choice, as the daycare is the cheapest option she can afford. Luckily, Mariz's mother got hired that very same day in a restaurant, just a few blocks away from daycare. So it is really convenient for her to get to her daughter easily, as they are both along the way. The first few days at her new job are flawless. Since she lives just 8 blocks away from her new job, she doesn't have to wake up too early to save time for travel. She also saves money for not needing to take the bus. And the best part of it is that she has an ample time to take care of Mariz during the morning and after going home. However, after a few weeks since her first day at her job, she notices that some things are changing with Mariz's behavior. Mariz used to be this overly jolly girl. She always had this vibrant smile and bright aura that she brings with her anywhere she goes. Her previous daycare teacher would always compliment her for having such an optimistic daughter. But nowadays, Mariz seems cold and distant, like her once vibrant aura became completely lifeless and uncolorful. She thinks that maybe Mariz is adjusting to her new daycare and new home in a negative way. Maybe she is missing her old friends that she made in the last daycare she used to go. It has been 3 years after all, and change can be a little too overwhelming for young kids like her. Every day, whenever it's time for her to pick up Mariz from her daycare, she seems sadder than the day before. She wants to ask Mariz about it, but Mariz is not responding to any of her questions like, "How was daycare today?" Or even to simple queries such as, "What did you eat at daycare?" Mariz has been completely distant, until one day she expresses to her mother that she doesn't want to go to daycare anymore. This confuses her mother because she knows that Mariz loves daycare. Whenever she dropped her off to daycare before, she would jump up and down over and over because of excitement. So all this is new to her. She asks Mariz what is happening, but she doesn't respond. She realizes that Mariz might have been missing her old friends at that daycare, so she assures Mariz that in the coming weekend, she will take her to her old daycare out of town. Mariz cries, which she rarely does, but she continues her plan on dropping her off at daycare. In the middle of the day, she feels something isn't right. She suddenly feels like she has to check in on her daughter and see if she is all right. She doesn't understand if it is only because of her daughter's sudden changes on behavior, but she knows that it must be something and she feels like she needs to check it out. Fortunately, since the daycare is just a few blocks away from her work, she can walk to the daycare easily without missing her after lunch break. She walks and peeks at the daycare's window, and what she sees is something she didn't expect. It is horrifying. All the kids are eating one piece of tiny boiled eggs each, and they are obviously starving still. Then, Mariz suddenly gets up to ask for more, because she has to share hers with her seatmate. The daycare teacher angrily scolds her and orders her to squat while she hits her buttocks area. Upon witnessing everything, Mariz's mother realizes why Mariz refuses to go to daycare. She immediately takes out her camera to take a video of what's happening. And while another student stands up and the teacher hits her with a huge book in the head, all of these are recorded through her camera and she immediately sends online to the police, while she barges in to save her daughter. Mariz runs to her safety while tears are endlessly running down her cheeks. Mariz's mother wants the daycare teacher to not go anywhere near the kids again, but the teacher just laughs at her. "And what are you gonna do? Call the cops?" After she says this, a group of policemen barge in and handcuff her, showing her the video of her abuse. The teacher gets a rough sentence for her wrongdoing, and Mariz's mother just decides to go back to their old town. Justice has been served for all the children in that daycare. That's all for today. We hope you enjoyed that video, and we'll see you in the next.